Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Hi, con artists. Welcome. It's always good to see you. It's been a crazy week. Hi, boss Callus. Welcome. Hello, Zoomy. I have my cat Zoomy in here. I had to actually carry him in. Why I can't help you there? I can't help you there. So just 5 or 10 minutes ago, my door, my front door was opening and closing while I'm in the kitchen. And I've got a pack of raccoons on my porch, 7 of them. And they wanted more food. So one of them thinks it's okay to open the door and stick his head inside. They're bold. Very bold. So how are you doing, con artist? Hi, Eden's Living. Welcome, welcome. You've been busy, girl. The creepy voice. The creepy voice is always here. The creepy voice, High River Bluff, needs to get his own YouTube channel. Creepy voice on YouTube, yes. And I'll even help upload some of his past videos. Hi, Nick, welcome. Yeah, train the raccoons to look out for low-life, pathetic cowards sneaking around. There are 7 of them on the porch. And then there are a bunch on another porch. They're just running around. And the poor fox is freaking out because I usually leave like a dish of eggs out. And the coons like ate all the eggs. Amy has the creepy voice, but she hasn't gotten back to me. I've given the creepy voice to look out for Charlie, Amy, and no one's gotten back to me yet. So this boss Callus, you're now hidden. Hi Cheryl, welcome. Boss Callus is a perp. Hi Elsie, hi 1-2, hi Cheryl. Welcome, welcome. So how's everybody doing? What's the weather doing by you guys? It's been hot and humid. Yeah, so we just got rid of this boss Callus. He's gone. He or she asking about money, when he's going to get his money. Gone, gone, gone. I wish I could train the raccoons. I hit the thumbs up, guys. Remember to hit the thumbs up. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, I see that there are 17 people listening and 7 thumbs up. So how's everybody's targeting been? Has it been the same, increased, decreased? Hi, Rubia. Yeah, it's hot. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Tasha. Hi, Tasha. Yeah, creepy voice is in the chat. Creepy voice is always here. 100 degrees. Well, I was listening to a YouTube creator that was giving updates about the weather modification, and that there's so much like heavy metals in the air that it's like literally electrifying and making it hotter than it needs to be, causing fires and stuff. Hi, SCL, welcome. It's good to see you, Tasha. I haven't seen you in a while. It's tough. This is Eastern time. Oh, you have an increase, Cheryl? Welcome, welcome. Witchcraft is real. Do do I believe in possessed dolls? I've never really considered it. I've never considered. I would imagine if I had come across one, I might believe in that or consider it. But you know, some old dolls are very creepy looking. You know, like if you were like in a house with somebody that collects dolls, that would be really creepy. And then I've seen these other creepy things like I don't know exactly what they're called, but these women are collect these dolls that look like real babies. They really look like real babies. It's very creepy. You believe in possessed dolls? Well, I would imagine like if there was witchcraft performed on a doll and the object is left behind, because they do that, you know, they perform rituals with devices, wood, stone, glass, rusty nails like what I found today. That Raggedy Ann doll killed the guy who touched it. Well, you know, come to think of it, it has been in film before. A possessed dolls. Was that Chucky? Was that a doll? That ugly Chucky doll? That's okay, SCL. We understand. I mean, they do that to us. I mean, they're sick. They're very perverted, sick people. Riverblood, yes, you're 3 hours from me, and you think this whole Appalachian corridor has a ton of evil. Yep, I feel that way too. I feel that way too. I'm not exactly sure why, but I feel that. I feel that. I actually, when I first moved here, as soon as I moved here, like I knew I made a bad choice, and um, I contacted my lawyer right away, and they actually had agreed to reverse it. And then, like a couple of days passed, and I decided to stay. I should have split then. Yeah, Bari is nice. Yeah, SCL. I don't really know how to help in that area because they do it to me when I'm sleeping. They do it to me when I'm walking around. They do it to me after the shower and I go lie in bed. So I don't know if there's nanotechnology in the body that's being vibrated or whatever, because they do infiltrate our food. Yeah, the longer I stay, the more raccoons I'll have. Well, I had about 6 last year, and now there was 7 on the porch, like 6 on the other. I'm gonna say there's like 20, 25 raccoons. I mean, it's hard to tell because they run all over the place, but now the fox is scared. And I actually had to carry Zoomy in the house because he was scared. He was scared. He was being overcome by the coons. I just thought because we had a cold winter with a lot of snow, like a lot of snow, like for us, that we would have fewer animals. Yeah, yeah, the vibrating feet. That's what happens with me also. Do you take the temperature on your feet, like to check the? I'll wake up and the temperature on my feet will be 96 degrees. When they should be around 75. So I'm just getting cooked at night. Yeah, they do that. It's 96 degrees, right? That is way too high. It should not be that high. The temperature on my feet has been as low as 74, but they're vibrating it all the time. And generally, it's like in the 80s, which is still too high. But I'll wake up and it's 96. It's been as high as 98 degrees, which is insanity. Can energy weapons be tracked back to point of origin? Some people say that they can. And I guess it depends on what it is that they're using. I know that there is something installed in the ceiling of my bedroom. I've heard it. I've heard it a couple of times. I don't know. Does anybody know the answer to that question? Can energy weapons be tracked back to the point of origin? People have said that they're generally within a close proximity. I do not have an attic, but I do have vaulted ceilings. And that's why, like, people have given me suggestions about what to do, but my ceilings are vaulted. It's really like a high pitch, very difficult to get to. Wherever I move, I do not want vaulted ceilings. They're a waste of space, a waste of heat. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Yes, the fake moon just happens to be over my home. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that fake moon move a couple of times. Hi, targeted ones. Are you new here? Welcome. I just received an alert that there is a mega tsunami warning for the West Coast. There's also a hurricane warning for the East Coast for New Jersey. Oh goodness. Yes, yes. Mega tsunami and for the West Coast. I don't know. Would that surprise anybody about the West Coast? I mean, people have been claiming that there's going to be a tragedy there, literally for decades. So it's bound to happen at some point. Raccoon morning for Kentucky. Yeah. The raccoons are possessed. Oh, really? There was an earthquake? 3.4 on the west coast. Yes, yes. The HAARP. I know, isn't that nuts? That surfers and people drive to the west coast to watch. And what about those hurricane chasers? Yeah, they usually rent an apartment above, below, on the side of you. Oh, is that right? The Ring of Fire on the West Coast always has earthquakes. Yeah, it says mega. Let's see. This says mega tsunami. Oh, 1 second. Researchers from Virginia Tech are warning that a mega tsunami could hit the west coast near Oregon, Washington, and Northern California from a megaquake hitting the Cascadia subduction zone. Evacuations have been ordered in Idaho for wildfires. Multiple earthquakes have hit Alaska as well. And Alaska is where HARP is located, right? Yeah, that's what they do. They like to rev up the engines on the highway. Riverblood says, nobody can convince me they're fully human. Oh, you're welcome, targeted ones. Oh, hi, KG. Welcome. Oh, we were just talking about the tsunami warning. There was a tsunami in Alaska. Yes, I received an alert. This is like 17 minutes ago. I subscribe to Patrick Humphrey, and he usually puts the news out there. Yeah, yes, Alaska, Trump, Putin, now this tidal wave, they're all in. Yeah, while I was outside spray painting some chicken coop perches and step stools and stuff, the criminals were just driving back and forth and back and forth and revving up their engines like teenagers, like children. ChatGPT says a massive fault that runs offshore. That's right. There's always something going on the West Coast. That's true. And it's huge. California is huge. And the weather is just crazy across the United States. Like today, we were not supposed to have any rain today. So I'm sitting in my house and they knock me out. I wake up and I look out the window and it's like it looks dark outside. And I walk outside and it starts to rain. Forethought. I don't know what to tell you, but I only see two solutions for this harassment. That is one, move, and two, stalking is not a clean joke. No, it's not. Well, I realize that it follows you wherever you move, but there are some locations that are not, I'm not going to say better, but not as horrendous. I think when you move around a more heavily populated area, I mean, they can't coerce everybody in a heavily populated area. Not that I want to live in a heavily populated area again. I mean, as I did in New Jersey, it was very heavily uh, populated. It wasn't when I moved there, though. But as people continue to move to New Jersey, it just increased, and the property taxes were crazy. Yeah, that's right. It depends on how hard you're targeted. They like to scare you with their sound and vibration stuff. I don't know. It doesn't scare me. It's just annoying, you know? It's like I know that they're doing it to harass me, and knowing that they're doing it to harass me annoys me more than what they're actually doing. I mean, I grew up in the Bronx. I mean, it's not like I didn't hear this stuff on a regular basis. Oh, I need to peek outside once in a while, check on the adolescent children and criminals darting around my property. Yeah, I sent the creepy voice to be analyzed, but I think she's backlogged by several months. I think that's a good idea, targeted one. That's a good idea. Elsie says, I don't think anyone here is easily scared, LOL. Yeah, stalking it I have had a real stalker. I know what it is. It's beyond weird. It's intimidating. It's annoying. It's harassing. It's surveillance on steroids. But it's not that it's just stalking. It's all the things that are done while they're stalking you. Throwing insects in your kitchen sink, slicing your panties, stretching out your socks, harming the eyes of your cats. Oh, that's so horrible, KG. Who has 2 free PDFs on her website? Let's see, I missed something. Yes, it's psychotic obsession, and I actually pulled a couple of books that I might read some pages on later. Let's see. If you sleep in your clothes, they can't do it. Let's see. Amy Audios has Amy has 2 PDFs. Okay. I'll have to check. I haven't been to her website since I submitted my audios. Well, fortunately, the raccoons on the porch sound quiet now. They were going nuts. Let's see, Conan says, the hospital, my stalkers were waiting for me. Oh my goodness. Well, they're bad actors. They're actor wannabes. Oh, okay. What does Amy have a YouTube channel? Like how do you know? No, or maybe is it on Twitter? Is she on Twitter or X? Hi, True Peace. Who the Illuminati is? I don't know. I call them Illuminatis. I call them the deletes. Oh, she tweeted yesterday to check her site. Okay. Yeah, I'm not on X very often. Like the amount of time that I need to spend between creating videos, uploading them, editing, responding to comments, and all of my other emails and the animals. It's just it's very time consuming. Yeah, I'll have to go check out her website. You know what? While you're there, let me see if I can get to her page. Before I go there, I want to tell you. Now, this is really bizarre because this was actually. I was watching one of my own videos that I recently uploaded, and there was a commercial, an advertisement. And you won't believe the advertisement was for a company called Synchron. And I'll post it in the chat here. Let's see. Remember the ruling family I mentioned, Farnese family in Italy. They're the one of the 12 ruling families called the Black Nobility. Oh, yes, I've heard of that. Yes, yes. Yes, please hit the thumbs up for everybody that's come in. So this Synchron, this was an advertisement that popped up on one of my videos. It's called Synchron, Synchron, the brain computer interface device powering powering what? What is this? What is this? It's the Synchron BCI community, the brain computer interface designed to enable people to use their thoughts to control a digital device. Isn't that nice? synchroninc.com. So I will post this again. Many more wealthy families are under the employ of the black nobility. You know, I've just heard about that for the first time this past year. I didn't even know what that was. Oh, you were poisoned with graphene oxide. Oh my goodness. There's a family named Pacers who are supposedly own most of the USA. Oh, interesting. SCL says, my targeting is surreal. I'm literally tethered to this computer interface and fighting this thing energetically all day. Oh, Pacers are the richest families? No, I've never heard of them before. I never heard of them before. It's called PISO, PISO. The Piso family. and the Habsburgs. Oh goodness. It pulls you on wirelessly since last week. Oh, that's interesting, con artist. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. Well, that's very interesting forethought. Stalkers don't work the way you think. They're not obsessed with you. They're obsessed with your discomfort and repelling. That's gold. That's the disturbing part. The more you run, the more they obsess. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Cheryl. Taking an Epsom salt bath. No, I don't. I don't know about you. The question is anyone going to the targeted action protest in DC next month? I don't attend protests. Doesn't matter who they are, what they are. I don't attend protests. And even if I decided to attend a protest, I don't have the time. I have nobody to care for my animals when I'm gone. I wouldn't. I do not attend protests. They none of their protests have ever been actually successful, in my opinion. It's just an opinion. I don't find those protests to be uh, helpful in any way. 180 Life Science Corp. Peter Thiel just bought in big. Is that a new company? No, I don't blame you, KG. I would not. I would not want to fly on a plane either. Oh, you live in North Virginia. Oh, so you're planning on going. Okay, well, enjoy. Maybe you can report back to us. Report back to us how it is. I would imagine that one positive would be being able to meet other targeted people in person. I know. Teal wants us all dead. He's so passionate about population control. Yeah, I do. I say he goes first. For science. Okay, a redress of grievances. I hear you. They've had several of these protests or whatever you want to call them in the past. Um, they've recorded them, posted them online. I also think in this day and age, it's not a great idea. Hallelujah, brother. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in. They add an oily substance to your water, like a vitamin E substance. Oh my goodness. You've got to get yourself a water filter. Do we have any advice for those who didn't submit to their perps? What does that mean? I'm not exactly sure what that means. Post nudging survivor here. What does given mean? I don't think anybody gives in to their perpetrators. We try to ignore them. blow the whistle on them, expose them. I mean, I think most of us here could think that they're morons, you know? Yeah, I try to ignore them. Sometimes it's difficult to ignore. You have a way to prove neural monitoring. Please, you can feel free to share. Yes, yes, yes. We know that those are all the goals of these criminals. Yes. Yeah, they've got goal. They, you know, their money. They want money. I've heard that that's a common thing, that they do something to your ceiling. If you don't understand your stalker, you'll never escape. Understand the game and how it's like running with your money on the ground falling out of your pocket. Well, I think I just have so many of them here. I literally have people living on the property, following me around. It is. It's never ending, increasing nightmare. They do make mistakes, though, you know? They do make mistakes. Yeah, yes. Okay, so the question is, hey Lorraine, so as you can tell, everyone being gang stalked has different experiences. How did they get so many people involved? Who are these undercover plans, street theater, and workplace mobbing? Well, I can just tell you from my experience that I actually witnessed in New Jersey two guys that were probably like private contractors, fake FBI agents, walking door to door wearing like cheap suits. They kept looking at me because I was outside watching them because I lived there so long, and these guys were totally out of place. And I'm thinking, who do they even know? Like, what are they even doing here? But they never came to my house. And other people have posted, there's this one video in particular where evidently it was the FBI and a sheriff or whatever knocks on this guy's door asking if he could help, if the guy could help him. And the guy obviously knew that these two were up to no good. I said, no, I'm not interested. Let me give it some thought. And I think that's what people need to do if they're approached. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to make a decision at that moment. So yeah, we all have different experiences. Remember, because they surveil us months, even years before, because they want to know our personality and how to get to us psychologically. So what happens to me might not necessarily happen to you. A lot of them are felons who cut a deal with the DA or feds to do the stalking or face hard time. Neurotransmitters, also known as V2K, create a neural oscillation in your mind, but you'll be able to fingerprint with EEG device the difference between what's being sent remotely from what's being thought of internally or mentally. So Targeted One says all targeting is a bit different, but mostly scientific. Oh, you live in a third world country. His targeting might be worse, not to compare. You never know. Like, I thought that it would lessen here in a rural community, having so much land that I don't even see my neighbors. where in New Jersey, I could see my neighbor just from looking out the window, walking out the front door. But it's not like that here. But it's worse here, actually. It's worse. Yeah, I won't live in another rural area. No, I and it's unfortunate because that's what I wanted. I really wanted to live in a rural area. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to living in a rural area, but obviously, if you're a targeted person, there's no benefit, zero benefit. You're absolutely right, con artist. We come to realize that we are test subjects. Whom better to train AI with our responses and actions? Absolutely, I agree. Although I had asked ChatGPT that question, and Chat said that we weren't necessarily a training, they weren't learning from us necessarily. So one of your Flying Monkey Street Theater players opted out or failed to participate. Yeah, they would be placed on a very similar list. Yeah, that's a good point, River Bluff. In rural areas, you become their primary entertainment. Target One says if AI is learning from us, you need to train it with garbage. I don't know about that. I don't think we want to train AI with garbage. So Conrad says, I've been trying to tell people for years the black nobility are the families with whom and operate our targeting. They are the source of our pain. And I'm just hearing about them actually for the first time this year. Actually, through Onionhead Andrew, he mentioned it, and I really didn't know what it was. I've never heard of it before. Yes, you have to wonder when you say their mind is beyond disturbed. It's like psychotic. If they were made to be that way, or they were already like that. Did they really have AI toys in the 80s? Well, you know what? I guess they did. Come to think of it, there were some little handheld toy devices that were electronic. You'd press buttons and they would, say certain things, or they would ask you questions and then you have to respond electronically. Oh, really? I didn't know you had a channel targeted ones. I'll check it out. Targeted one says I have a video on my channel on how to disrupt neural monitors text screens. These criminals are trying to put me to sleep. Yes, those Furby things. Yes. Yes, those Furbies. I remember that. I remember it started talking all by itself. It was in New Jersey. My daughter had it in like on a shelf in the room where we had litter boxes. And I went in there to clean the litter, and the damn thing started talking. It freaked me out. Yes, they did have robots as toys. Yes, yes, you could. You could teach those Furby things. And then I know my daughter and her friends, they all had this, I forget what it was called. It was like a baby. It was a thing. It was like a little electronic device. And they had to walk around with it. The teachers finally told them that you have to leave those things at home. And they were these little devices that were like children. And it would cry, and it had a feeding time, and it had a nap time, and a burp time, and all these little alarms going off to take care of this thing. I forget what it's called. But all of her friends had it, and they were bringing them to school. The teachers got really pissed off and said, "Don't bring those in anymore." They were disrupting the class. Yeah, those Furbies, they were very weird. I guess they were like an early Alexa. My mother had an Alexa. She was so excited about it. She loved that thing. And I kept telling her, you've got to get rid of it. It's just is really bad. They operate on what we can record from waves to prove it. From a Masonic point of view, AI is the human replacement. Elon loves AI and Neuralink. Yes, yeah. So Alexa in my mother's house, like she would tell it to turn on her lights and turn off the lights and turn on Frank Sinatra, whatever it was. And then she was on the phone with my cousin, and evidently Alexa recorded the conversation between my mother and my cousin and repeated it back to her later in the day when nobody else was home. My mother freaked out. You watch a lady exposing stuff on Redacted, like Kathy O'Brien. It was that recently? Even though I'm subscribed to Redacted, I don't watch everything. I don't watch all of their videos. I'm really not interested in politics when they discuss that. I hope they become totally dependent on AI, then it crashes. Yes. Neural fingerprinting is how it's done on specific individuals. You know, when they're inventing all of these methods, they really need to have the laws in place at the same time. They can't allow years and years to go by without having specific laws to help people that may suffer at the hands of these new devices. And the torture is activated by two signals crossing in your brain. Well, I mean, you mentioned Kathy O'Brien. I actually have her book. I actually pulled it out earlier today. It's interesting that you mentioned her name. It's the PTSD book, Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien. The earthquake machine is real. I'm sure there is an earthquake machine or some device to rattle to rattle the earth. Yes, that's true, KG. The UN started investigating the torture 5 years ago, put out a report, then nothing. Exactly. There is nothing after that. I think it was Nils Melzger, I think that's his name, who was involved and testified at the Rapporteur. I forget, it's called the Rapporteur for Torture or something like that. Yes, I'm going to read some of the Kathy O'Brien book. It's called Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien. And she's such a sweet woman. I had purchased her first book and then this one, and she left a really nice note and signed it. Um, I purchased it from. She's got an eBay store, by the way. Yeah, so I have her note here. This is, let's see, is there a date on here? It's shipped. She's in Alabama, by the way. A post-traumatic stress disorder, time to heal. Thank you, Lorraine, for your kind support and determination to enjoy peace and freedom, Kathy, and for rescuing cats, she wrote with an exclamation mark. So she says here, before I start reading, let me just read what you're. Hi, Hacksaw. Welcome. Welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up. Yeah, it was Nils, Nils, Nils Melzger, or something like that. Blue beam refinement readying for chips for da dips. Anything Congress exempt themselves from, like, uh, yep, yep, I hear you. Well, I think that is the best idea. It says the best course of action is to stop running, but get familiar with a place somewhere. Yes. Okay, SCL. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. You know what? Do you have a bathtub? Maybe you can get in the bathtub or a shower. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I know it's horrible. But thank you for joining in, and I hope you're feeling better. Okay, so there's a really good 501 already going and working with senators to get bills passed, and they need volunteers. SCL, as KG says, if you need to talk, to contact me, I'll give you her email address. Oh no. They just hit him in the back of the neck. Okay. Yeah, maybe you can get into a shower or something. Get an ice pack for your neck. Yes, use projection and project your enjoyment of the pleasure pain. They may stop because it gives you pleasure. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yep. So Kathy says in her book, Safety First, our brains can react on their own as evidenced by that defense mechanism of shutting down neuron pathways in order to compartmentalize trauma. This is not an action we psychologically choose for ourselves, since it can occur in infancy before moral judgments can even be made. It's like an autogenic physical brain response. Likewise, our brains require a safe environment in order to reopen those neuron pathways. You must be free of your abuse base. If, for example, your family was abusive and you're still in contact with them, as society structures us to do, your brain will not heal. It will keep its defense mechanism firmly in place because it knows that you have yet to consciously remember. If you already on your healing path and encounter your identified abuse base, even if they are repentive, this can disrupt, scatter, and or further repress memory. Stay aware and conscious of time. Keep a notebook within reach and wisely limit contact. Later, when you are safe, relaxed, and have consciously acknowledged the encounter, resume writing out your memories. Being around someone you were abused with can complicate your brain's defense mechanism just as much or even more when vocalizing together. Memory is not likely to even flash surface under such conditions. You must be in a safe environment. And I agree with that. And this is not a safe environment. The people here are sick, absolutely disturbed. Oh, Conrad says, I'm defective goods now. Yeah, well, aren't we? We're all experiencing trauma. That's what this is. It's trauma-based mind control. They hit us physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, psychologically. They hit our healthy bodies to cause degradation. She goes on to say, how do you know if you're in a safe environment? Hi, Battle, welcome. Your brain will let you know. When Mark first rescued my daughter and me from our mind control existence, I could not think to trust that we were safe. With no capacity for free thought, my senses had heightened, much the way a blind person develops acute hearing. I sensed Mark could be trusted because his pets naturally showed me the way. Hi, Kevin. Welcome, welcome. I'm just reading. Let me see. What does that mean? Hacksaw, tinfoil hats, hippie, right back in the 60s. Well, I'm reading a PTSD, Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien. It's just basically the introduction to her book. The trauma is definitely off the charts. According to U.S. Code Chapter 113C, severe mental pain or suffering is defined as prolonged mental harm caused by actions such as the intentional or threatened infliction of severe physical pain. KG, what URL is that? You're looking at a plain psychopath when you understand how their brains work. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I know. I know. Oh, that's a link to the interview. Okay. Let me save that so that I don't lose it. Well, let me just save this interview. Okay. Let's see. Hannah Rose, I can't remember her name, but I just saw it. Can anyone, the agency that does nationwide spying? Constance, she's a targeted female? Hi, Alicia, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. I mean, I remember a Constance, I don't know if it's the same Constance, but there was a Constance that would get on the conference calls, and she was blind. I'm not sure if it's the same Constance. The key to proving targeting revolves in proving neuromonitoring. It all revolves around remote scientific research. She's working to make laws that catch up with the technology and works to get the crimes prosecuted. Well, that's exactly what we need. So Kathy O'Brien goes on to say, people who abuse children usually abuse animals. And I had never encountered somebody like Mark, whose animals displayed trust. Every pet Mark had, whether it was his fox, raccoons, dogs, all eagerly and affectionately greeted him and lovingly stayed at his side. Mark took us, animals and all, to safety and serenity of Alaska, where I began deprogramming by writing out my memory. Many government secrets and personal reputations were on the line, and we literally were dodging bullets all the way to Alaska. Still, my brain knew I was safe with Mark since he was not abusing us, and memory began intrusively flashing. So, some of her memory was resurfacing again. If you're in a safe and or supportive environment, you may already be experiencing memory flashes. It's the brain's way of drawing attention to repressed memory that demands to be consciously dealt with. Perhaps memory is leaking out through dreams or night terrors, simply because the mind is relaxed, or your brain may sense safety when an abuser dies, whether you have consciously identified this abuser or not. And again, this is for educational purposes only. I'm reading a book, PTSD, Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien. Okay, targeted ones, thank you. Thanks for joining in. Have a great night. Yeah, they're very psychopathic. Many of them are sadistic, psychologically depraved. They get off on stalking. They get off on voyeurism. Have a good night, targeted ones. Yes, Hacksaw. Yep, it's definitely like the Black Ops in many instances. And where is all this money coming from? Yeah, the creepy voice was here earlier too. It comes and goes. I think Creepy needs to get his own YouTube channel. He could start his own live stream. I mean, it's obviously a guy's voice. Let's see. Did I see that cartography you sent? I did. I did not have time to read it all. That's something I need to read again. And I did ask ChatGPT. I didn't have time to focus on any like new articles. I had so much going on here. Okay, so we've got somebody new in the chat who's asking, have you seen any rattlesnakes or copperheads out on your road? We went hunting for them the other night, out there the other night. So are you saying that you live down near where I live? No, I actually have not seen any. But I have not walked along the county road either. Creepy voice will have his own. Okay, but they say there are lots out there. Well, there can be. Like when I moved here, the former owner had so much stuff like all over the property. Like he had metal, he had bricks, like piles and piles of stuff everywhere. And it took literally 2.5 years to clean it all up. And every time we picked up like a piece of metal, there was some snake under there. Yeah, I never really liked snakes. I'm not crazy about them. But I know when I first moved here, they would like hunt them on the county road. I mean, really, you don't want them around. I mean, I don't know what you do with them. As long as they don't bother you, just yeah. Connor says, "Why hunt snakes when you can get burgers and fries and gift cards with gift cards?" Okay, let's see. I saw a couple of videos of Owen Benjamin. His material suggests he might be receptive to the message. Fry snake up with breading and some ranch dip. They're good barbecued. Oh my goodness. I never thought about it. I mean, do you think it's a good idea to eat a poisonous snake? You sold your soul and all you got was a Waffle House gift card. Let's see. You wrote, okay, so Kevin wrote a guide on how to sort of break the concept of targeting to normies today that might be helpful. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd imagine that some people eat snakes. So Fourth Lord says, I just wanted to mention you're hopping from place to place where there are people, the same type of people, to clarify, that have been there for a long time. It's just a repeated process of misery. Right, right. He goes on to say, like you find psychopaths everywhere because they stay put like a statue, or like the weeping angel the whole time while you live your nightmare. Well, that's what happens, I think, in small towns is people grow up here and they don't leave. They don't venture out and stay here. And they're likely, become miserable because there's nothing really to do. So, preying on others becomes their sport. Unfortunately, we're creating a society of narcissists and psychopaths through pharmakia. Jethro raising his 15 kids in the ways of the gang stalker. Oh, that's true, Kevin. She was made to think she didn't belong where she started, though. Oh, as soon as I came here, like I moved here knowing no one, and I mean there were a couple of people that were initially friendly, but I found that they only wanted something. They only wanted something. Yes, absolutely. Well, Kathy O'Brien goes on to say, if you're in a safe and supportive environment, you may already be experiencing memory flashes. It's the brain's way of drawing attention to repressed memory that demands to be consciously dealt with. Perhaps memory is leaking out through dreams or night terrors, simply because the mind is relaxed. Or your brain may sense safety when an abuser dies, whether you have consciously identified this abuser or not. Yeah, true peace. I mean, I think that a lot of the people that are recruited, that one, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how bad it's going to be for them and for the other person. I don't think they really know what they're getting themselves into, half of them. She says repressed memory is also known to leak through compartmentalization and begin intrusively flashing with brain chemistry changes, such as those that naturally occur at the age of 30. A physical jolt to the brain can sometimes stimulate neuron pathway activity, causing the brain to free. Oh, it's brain to fire, sorry. This could potentially inspire memory flashes or cause conscious realization of a need to leave a domestic violence situation, even if the memory is not repressed, as in some cases of rape and domestic violence. Writing out the details of the situation can help to logically address the issues. It is on this conscious logical level that wise choices can be made to positively move forward with life. Generational stalkers. Well, I would imagine that that would run in families. A true peace, I don't know if that's a question or a statement that you're making. Let's say everyone with the spyware technology, even rogue elements, can directly involved in gang stalking. Or would you say it's organized system in the government or also secret societies? I would say all of the above. Christian groups are involved. Jehovah's Witnesses sometimes are involved. Well, the behaviors would definitely be handed down in families that participate in these things because, I mean, I even think about my neighbors, and some of them have children who obviously see and hear what's going on. So they might hear their parents talking about it, and they're not stupid. They understand what's going on, maybe not necessarily why, or have a false sense of what the reason is why. Oh, okay. All right, I'll check my email. 1 second. Oh, wow, yeah. I see that. Does it hurt? They love to attack feet. Yeah, I agree, True Peace. Top levels, handlers and perpetrators of gang stalking. Oh, that's interesting. That your ears pop at the same place, a specific distance from your house, no matter what road I leave on. Who does? That's a good question. Who does DARPA work for? I don't know. Department of Defense? Are they on their own? The Pentagon? The CIA? Who does DARPA work for? Let's see if I can get an answer from chat here. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, works for the United States Department of Defense, the DoD. Here's how it fits in. The parent organization is the U.S. Department of Defense. The mission? To make pivotal investments in breakthrough technologies for national security. The role? DARPA funds and manages high-risk, high-reward research that may not be pursued by private industry or traditional government labs. The structure, it reports to the Secretary of Defense through the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, and their focus areas are artificial intelligence, biotech, space, advanced weapons, cybersecurity, communications, robotics, and other emergent technologies. In short, DARPA is, in short, DARPA is the Pentagon's innovation arm created in 1958 after the Soviet launch of Sputnik to ensure the U.S. stays ahead technologically in defense and national security. Hi, Joe. Welcome. Welcome. I was reading a little bit from the Kathy O'Brien book, PTSD, A Time to Heal. And then we've been having conversations about the perpetrators being psychotic. Oh, I'll read it again. So I asked ChatGPT, who does DARPA work for? DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, works for the U.S. Department of Defense, DoD. Here's how it fits in. Parent organization is the U.S. Department of Defense. The mission is to make pivotal investments in breakthrough technologies for national security. The role DARPA funds and manages high risk, high reward research that may not be pursued by private industry or traditional government labs. So that means there's a lot of secrecy that goes on here, right? A lot of stealthy stuff like, equipping insects with cameras. The structure reports to the Secretary of Defense through the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. The focus areas are artificial intelligence, biotechnology, space, advanced weapons, cybersecurity, communications, robots, and other emerging technologies. In short, DARPA is the Pentagon's innovation arm, created in 1958 after the Soviet launch of Sputnik to ensure the U.S. stays ahead technologically in defense and national security. Okay, so chat asked me, do you want me to map out a chain of command chart showing who DARPA works for and how it fits into the U.S. defense structure? So I said yes. DARPA, chain of command, simplified. President of the United States. Then the Secretary of Defense, the head of the Department of Defense. Then the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, USDRNE. Then DARPA Advanced Research Projects Agency. The Director of DARPA, appointed by the Secretary of Defense. Program managers and offices for AI, biotech, space, tactical technology, and microsystems. The key points is DARPA is not independent. It's a research agency within the DoD. So that's pretty much the answer there. DARPA is not independent. It is a research agency within the DoD. It does not directly fight wars but develops technologies and the military and intelligence community. Let's see what else. It often partners with universities, private companies, and labs. I'll cut and paste some of this in the chat. ChatGPT just created a downloadable chain of command document. Okay, whoever that Joe Obama is, was just removed. And they always come in when I'm reading because I'm distracted doing something else. Hi, Amy. Welcome, welcome. Yes, yes. Yeah, they always creep in when I'm reading. Welcome, Max Vita. No, thank you, True Peace. That person was leaving like infantile messages in the chat. And that's what Kathy O'Brien says too. She says, even if memory is not repressed, as in some cases, write out the details of your situation can help to logically address the issue. Whatever causes brain electrochemical changes and subsequent intrusive flashes of memory, make note of them immediately. It's easy to fool yourself into assuming you will remember to write it later because, after all, it's your memory. Don't wait. Make a note immediately. Always keep a notebook and pen within reach. Jot down a brief descriptive word or two of the intrusive flash for use to trigger your memory later when it can be written out in full. Absolutely, that's exactly right. DARPA is different though, and it doesn't correspond to traditional models. Things always are changing there. Off the mark experiments have been suggested to be, yes. I agree, Joe. Joe says, my guess is that DARPA is part of the deep state, also known as shadow government. Yep. They do some really sick stuff. Very sick. The use of birds and insects and crazy experiments. They do it here in Jackson County, Kentucky. So DARPA, let me just get this. Let me cut and paste this. So since DARPA is appointed by the Secretary of Defense, and they're affiliated with AI, biotech, space, tactical technology, microsystems, that like involves everything that's being tested on all targeted people. Hi, Regulus, welcome. Yes, I've seen that, con artist. They're testing it. They've been testing the food and finding that. And you could only imagine that after eating that, how would that change somebody's, how that could possibly change somebody's DNA? I mean, that's so disgusting. Yeah, that makes sense, Cheryl. Yeah, I think so too. Look up the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. Oh, uh, oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, yes. Yucky. I don't even want to think about it. But don't these secret societies eat those sort of things sometimes as well? I'm so glad when I hear these stories and stuff, I'm so glad I don't eat meat. You really only need to simplify life. Yeah, well, you know what? I've tried to do that. And living here, these people are so evil. They drop more and more animals here. They get pregnant, have more. Now, when you say these people are making it 1,000 times harder, who are these people? Yeah, I don't really know what Pepsi did. Myself says Pepsi really did an about face when they got exposed. I don't know what was Pepsi exposed for. I don't drink soda, so I wouldn't know. Lizard folk. I've received like all this email, the articles and stuff. One is breaking news: mental health workers are out stalking. So I'm reading an email. She goes on to say organized crime is also attached to organized stalking and harassment against many innocent people. It's all the same club. It's part of the Red Beast system, also known as the New World Order. The Holy Spirit pointed his finger at, and then she mentions two names, of which both men were sent this letter below. So I won't read this. This is a personal. Let's see what other. Then I received an email. I'm subscribed to Zero Geoengineering, and they said they published a new blog article on their website. It's called WMO Global Atmosphere Watch Science Implementation Plan 2024 to 2027. Yeah, I'll post the link in the comment section. 1 second. Okay, so what are you saying? Nestle dog coffee. Nestle owns everything. Pepsi uses a company that uses. Oh, oh goodness. Oh, you know what? I did hear that. Cenomix. Oh my goodness. And Johnson has been getting busted lately. Corporations are involved. Cenomix. I definitely heard of that. That looks familiar. Myself asks, does anyone know if SCI, Service Corporation Internation, is owned by the Johnson & Johnson family? I personally don't know. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this in the chat. Not in the chat. It was under one of my last videos under the comments section. And somebody's been studying license plate numbers. And they said that ABC equals 123, FBI equals 629. Like if you see a license plate with 629, a CIA is 391, and a federal confidential informant is number 639. I'll cut and paste this. Creepy creepy voices going off onto somebody. It's probably me, right? I don't know. I'm going to have to look at license plates a little differently now and see if this is true. Now, I received a comment on the Andrew Boswell video, and this person says gang stalking has undercover military vets. I've seen them drive by laughing out their windows. One yesterday had a black SUV with dark blue marine plates. Really, there was a use of handicap plates. And you're right, Kevin, all of our stories are important because it's interrupted our lives. It's intercepted our lives. It's intercepted our destiny. What we were meant to be achieving in this lifetime. What we were meant to be doing. And instead, these losers have constructed a fake reality. Let's see. So Fourth Art says, I don't have any intel or observation beyond being a targeted person. I'm only applying what I can because I do believe in the DARPA topic for sure. This is good stuff, but beyond that, there's not much I can do. It's like focusing on the game rather than the people behind it. River Bluff, I haven't either. And most of them I see is snarling, they would look angry. It is, Cheryl. It's a hellish reality. And it's happening to so many people. And there are YouTube creators out there, I will watch a new YouTube creator every once in a while, like I did today. And she's talking about her schizoaffective disorder. And this is a young woman. I know, she looks like she's in her 30s. And her whole channel is based upon her having schizoaffective disorder and hearing, sounds in her ears and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking the woman's probably targeted. So Kevin says a Belarusian, let's see, woman sent me her story. It had two elements I had never seen before. I included it in my article on her, but that recognition made me wonder if we could create something to see other things that they are doing that we aren't currently aware of. That's what led to the human influence cartography. Oh, I see. Like when I first saw that word, I was curious about it, Kevin, the cartography, because in astrology, there's something called astrocartography, where we're mapping out the lines across the country, across the world, where there are good places to live based upon your birth chart. Oh, that's interesting. Haxla says, old boss said bullies only bring to the table their own wants and needs. They pull back the veil to see who's pulling the strings. Yes, that's exact. Yes, it means map. Yes, it's a map. Fourth Art says getting to the root of the problem is the job for another TI. I'm just trying to get my life sorted out. That's why I'm here anyway. It's really difficult because it is a reality that we don't want to be in. So it's sort of like being placed in a neighborhood, a job, or whatever that you don't want. You don't want to be there, but you're stuck there. So what do you do? All the stories are important. Somebody approached me. I guess I don't know. It was last year sometime, and said that we should write a book of our stories. Could you imagine how thick that book would be? We would have volumes and volumes and volumes of books. Yeah, you're being sensitized to all those symbols and the license plates and the cars. Wherever you go, there's symbols and stickers and license plates. Yep. They do it here. I picked up another triangular piece of glass today, another rusted nail. And actually, I think, let me see if I still have it here, because I had asked ChatGPT about the cartography. 1 second. Okay, I asked Chat, please tell me about the human influence cartography. Chat says, I wasn't able to find a widely recognized concept specifically called human influence cartography by that name. However, there are several related ideas that may align with what you're thinking of. Here is a quick breakdown. Some closely related concepts are a human footprint, human influence maps. These are ecological maps designed to quantify human impact on Earth's terrestrial systems. The original human footprint map, published in 2002, drew on 8 measurable factors such as roadways, railways, nighttime lights, infrastructure, and population density to produce a composite score of human influence across land areas, and it was later updated in 2000 with 2009 data. These maps help illuminate which parts of the planet remain untouched or minimally influenced by humans. And then it goes on to talk about critical cartography. This is a theoretical approach rooted in critical theory, arguing that maps are not neutral, but can reinforce systems of power. Advocates examine how mapping choices, what to highlight or omit, how borders are drawn, or often reflect dominant societal interests. So what you guys are saying, let's see. Elsie says I could write a book. But if they thought I had one, I don't know about that, LOL. Myself says TI is basically a social experiment for the police state, meaning high tech would be a top priority. Testing evaluation would be analyzed by somebody. So Forethought says, when you mention police state, that actually makes a lot more sense. Historically, countries like Nazi Germany, Soviet Union under Stalin, and North Korea under the Kim dynasty have been cited as examples of police state. It seems like the regime here is very un-American. Yes, it is very un-American. Con artists, I would like to do that also, but what these criminals do is they insert things in my body in places that are very difficult to see or very sensitive areas, because they have implanted some things under my skin also that feel like little cysts or something. KG recommended watching The Man in the High Tower. Basically, it's about America being under German Nazi rule, with isn't it is not too far fetched considering Operation Paperclip brought Nazi scientists over. Oh, the correction, The Man in the High Castle. Okay. Well, guys, it's just a little bit past midnight, and I'm gonna shut down the chat in just a couple of minutes because I am tired. It's been a rough week here. Canada says, when I was younger, I had no problem stitching myself up. My friends called me Rambo, but now I'm older, I don't have the same pain threshold. Hi, business owners. Hi. We're going to be shutting down the chat because it's just past midnight now. But yeah, something that I've used, con artists, is lancets. They're like little pricks. They have like a little plastic. They're plastic, and then they have like a little. I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to call it a needle. Like a little prick, so that you can lance or puncture. Puncture something that's on your body that shouldn't be there. But if it's in a place that's difficult to get to or see, that's what the problem is. Yes, myself says when you get the DHS, you have the FBI in the background. Yes. Well, and they're the ones that have the list. America, try America with a K. They buried that one. Well, thank you all for joining in the chat this evening and for sharing all this wonderful information in the chat. And fortunately, we only had a couple of perps. We got rid of them quickly enough. And of course, creepy voice is just part of the gang here. Oh, you're so welcome, Kevin. You're so welcome. Yes, Satan's world is coming to an end. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been rough. It's rough. I'm tired of this nonsense. Thank you all for joining in and your support and comments, and moderators, thank you so much for alerting me to the crazy people that we got rid of, that there were at least two of them. And for anybody that didn't, please remember to hit the thumbs up. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening. Hearts, hearts, hearts. And as I am signing off, the engines are revving up in the background.